The act of transferring the ball from one person to another. This is what we call a pass, and this simple action is the foundation for all team sports. A needle that threads an endless web of strategies and playstyles, high IQ battles between the best in the world not through a single player, but through teamwork. Every pass is an act of trust. Trust that a teammate sees what you see and does what they need to do. It's through this act that the beauty of sports truly reveals itself. We undeniably love individual brilliance, but there's also no denying that teamwork is the most crucial part of basketball, the ultimate catalyst that leads to the number one goal, winning. And we're seeing that now more than ever before. We know that throughout the history of basketball, many things have been changed, and many things have been added. The 24-second shot clock in 1954, the three-point line in 1945, even dribbling wasn't a thing until 1897, but passing was added in 1891, back when the sport was invented for the first time, which makes it the only aspect of basketball which has never changed. You could do the same passes they do today back in the 50s and it wouldn't break any rules, but if you did pretty much anything else, it would. Guys like Bob Cousy, Oscar Robertson, and Pistol Pete were the first pioneers of playmaking. Flashy passes that would still be considered highlights in today's age. But there's one man in particular who took this art to a whole nother level. One man who's almost unanimously considered the greatest passer of all time.
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Magic Johnson.
Magic was the best.
Most of you watching weren't alive in the 80s, and so none of you are really gonna know what it was like to see such a phenomenon. The level of excitement that came from seeing him on the court. A man credited for reviving the entire league. Everybody knew Magic Johnson was special. Nobody ever thought a 6'9" point guard would work. Guys that tall were built to stay in the post, not go on fast breaks and pass the ball. But Magic was different. His playmaking ability was second to none. His flair and style made everybody fall in love with him. He could predict every move. He knew where every teammate was. He knew what the defense was doing, and he just knew how to win. His passes were beautiful, perfectly timed, and it was through his unselfish style that he went to 9 finals and won 5 championships. The Showtime Lakers became a global phenomenon, and Magic was the center of it all. He's the greatest passer ever because he was just better. He had better court vision, better IQ, better finesse. His talent for playmaking was simply unmatched. As time went on, we saw more and more of these exceptional passers. Stockton with his unbelievable precision and efficiency, never wasting a movement and finishing as the all-time assist leader, with nobody else even coming close. Steve Nash following Magic's footsteps and creating the 7 seconds or less offense, a run-and-gun style with high pace led by the 2-time MVP. Chris Paul is the best passer of this past generation, a man who turned every team he was a part of to instant title contenders. In a sport dominated by giants, it's ironic that the shorter guys are actually the leaders. It's the passer's job to orchestrate the offense and read the defense. Because they're not flashy scorers, they often go underappreciated. Think about how many times you've played with an elite playmaker in a random game. Somebody that goes out of their way to pass the ball as much as they can. It's really not that common. Pretty much everybody wants to be the one to score, be the one to hit the crazy shots and get the highlight, because at the end of the day, the goal is to put the ball in the hoop. But the whole point of passing is to give the ball to someone else, so it doesn't really make sense to highlight individual players. After all, an assist only counts if your teammate scores it. Some of you might remember back in the day, whenever you were playing a game and everybody was moving the ball around effortlessly to get a good shot. There was a phrase that people always used to say to describe this perfect teamwork offense. Spurs basketball. A franchise filled with championships, winning embedded in their DNA. And it's no coincidence that this team also became the standard for team-oriented basketball. The thing that separated them from every other team is their passing. Their ball movement was simply unmatched. They built a system that ran entirely through the movement of the ball, not individual power. In fact, their style was so good that it was literally called the beautiful game. Looking at the 2014 Spurs in particular, you can tell that this team is on a completely different level. It's no coincidence that the team that mastered passing was also one of the best teams ever. the 1986 Celtics, the 1996 Bulls, the 2016 Warriors. All of these teams had all-time greats, but what made them so successful was their ball movement, their emphasis on passing the rock and winning as a team. But most teams that play like this aren't very popular. This style of basketball isn't exactly entertaining, and most people do find it boring. After all, sports fans have been conditioned to admire individual brilliance. Crossovers, dunks, deep shots. Compared to these, passing doesn't seem all that exciting. The benefit of passing is a better shot. The sacrifice is a flashy bucket. Of course, we see guys like Luka and Jokic do the occasional flashy pass here and there, but most of the time it's all very subtle, very basic and simple because that's the most effective way to win. An overwhelming majority of sports fans don't care about what play their team is running. They don't see the vision that players do, and so they obviously don't care as much about it. It's the same reason why most people don't like chess. It's too methodical and strategic. When someone moves a chess piece, you don't really know why they moved it. In the same way, most people can't fully see why players pass when they do. But then there's also fans that do see the vision. They see the beauty that comes from a brilliant pass. We're not in the 80s where players are standing still and catching the ball. Everybody's moving around, everything works in rhythm, and a pass chains it all together. All of that is done to achieve a bucket, not an ISO play, not a step back three from deep, not a forced shot that goes in from luck, but a shot with purpose, entrusted to you by your team. It's one thing to see a player in flow state, but it's even more impressive to see a team in flow state. It is truly the peak of the sport. Perfect basketball is achieved through excellent passing, and this art of passing is one of the most beautiful parts in the game of basketball.